Imagine you are walking down the street, going to work or to school or shopping or whatever, and then on the way you meet someone who walks up to you and asks you, "Hey, what year are we in?" And you might just walk away, you might look at them weirdly, you might answer and say it's 2026. The thing is that the more you look at this person, the more you realize they feel so out of that place, you know? They look like they came from the wrong timeline. They suddenly just jumped into our world. That person is dressed as if they just came out of the 70s or the 90s or whatever. So, how would you deal with that? And how would you feel if I told you that there are people who claim that they have jumped through time? If you are ready, let me tell you the story. Hi everyone, and welcome back to a new video on my channel. It's me, your girl Sarah. Yes, I missed you so very much, and I changed the angle a little bit. Maybe you haven't noticed, but whatever. Also, today I'm having a bad hijab day, so if you comment on my hijab, I'm gonna be really mad at you. Anyways, how have you been? I missed you, really. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you have some good news to share with me in the comments below. And today we have 3 stories. The first 2 stories are about people who jumped to the past. And then the last one is someone who came from the future. Without wasting your time, let's start with our first story. Our very first story takes place in Paris, the capital of France, and we are traveling to the Palace of Versailles, the year 1901. Our story starts with 2 lovely ladies, Charlotte Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain, 2 British ladies who were just exploring the city of Paris, and of course they felt like they had to go and visit the Palace of Versailles. They said that they experienced something amazing while looking for Le Petit Trianon inside the Palace of Versailles. Le Petit Trianon was not as big or huge or had like those amazing rooms such as the Palace of Versailles. It was more of a place that royalty built or designed to escape from court or from like responsibilities. And they heard that Marie Antoinette herself used to spend a lot of time in Le Petit Trianon. Therefore, they were looking for it and they were very, very excited to be there. While walking around, and let's say the closer they got to the Petit Trianon, the 2 lovely ladies felt something strange. They both said that it suddenly got quiet, and then they started noticing a lot of amazing things. They said that they noticed the way people were dressed was a little bit old-fashioned, that the atmosphere felt so different, and it was not as if they walked into a historical space, more like they lived in there. Like everyone who was walking around them and everything around them felt real. They felt like whatever they saw and whatever they felt and whatever they experienced was not a part of the historical touristic place or whatever, and therefore they felt a little bit strange, but they kept walking. And then they both said that they saw a lady sitting near Le Petit Trianon, and I think maybe she was reading, or maybe I just added that detail out of nowhere because I can't, because this is my video and because you should not trust everything you see on the internet. So yeah, they felt that everything around them belonged to a completely different century, and they said that the people were dressed as if they just came out of the 18th century. And by the way, the 18th century starts from 1701. So I'm telling you, the story happened in 1901. So of course, it's such a long period of time. They couldn't have just imagined that, because 1 second ago, people around them were dressed as tourists. And then suddenly they see this. This experience went viral. Well, in the 1901, of course, it went viral in a different way than what we know now, because the 2 lovely ladies wrote a book named An Adventure, and they described what they saw, and that after they saw that lady, they didn't really know who she was or whatever, but when they went back and they saw so many paintings and did research of or about Marie Antoinette, they both said that the woman they saw was Marie Antoinette. So do you believe these two lovely ladies experienced a time slip, or were they just imagining things? Well, it is not for me to decide, it's up to you. So let me know down in the comments below before we move to our second story. Our next story takes us to Liverpool, England. We will talk about an off-duty police officer who experienced what people call a time slip or lived through time. In July 1996, Frank and his wife Carol decided to go shopping in Liverpool, exactly in Bold Street. And while looking around, they decided to split up. I don't know why people decide to split up all of a sudden while shopping. Like, just go to the same stores together. Why not? But anyways, Carol had a book that she wanted to buy, so she went to a certain bookshop. Meanwhile, Frank was walking around and then something weird happened to him. He said he was almost hit by a van and he jumped and saved his own life. But the moment he jumped, something weird happened. Everything around him felt a little bit, let's say, a few centuries ago, like it happened a few decades ago at least. Everything looked different because the van disappeared. It was nowhere to be seen. And there were a few, let's say, very old-fashioned cars around him, and everything felt so different. Like, it was no longer the Liverpool or the Bold Street that he knows. Everyone was dressed differently. Everything around him looked very different and old. And even though I forgot to mention that when they split up, he wanted to go and buy a CD, the shop that he was headed towards, that he supposedly know, looked very different. The shop signs were also different. So this was no longer the Bold Street Frank knows. Frank said that he felt as if he just jumped into the 50s and that he was no longer in 1996. After it took him a few minutes to look around and, feel whatever he was feeling, because he must have been overwhelmed, he decided to walk into the closest shop that he saw. The shop had clothes displayed. Of course, the clothes were so old-fashioned. It felt like something you would read about in a book and not actually live to see in front of your eyes. He said the assistants were dressed very differently, like he's never seen a shop assistant dressed that way. And nothing inside or outside of that shop said anything about existing in the 90s. Everything felt a little bit older than the 90s, maybe 50s. Frank said that he spent a little bit of time inside the shop, but the moment he stepped outside, everything went back to normal. Even the shop itself, everything suddenly switched back to normal. And then he met Carol and he told her the entire story. And you might think she didn't believe him or she laughed at him, or yeah, she believed him because she's a supportive wife. Actually, something quite unexpected happened with Frank and Carol. Carol said that while she was in the bookshop, as I said before, she went to buy a book. She saw a lady, an old lady, who looked so lost and confused and out of place. Carol said that when she looked at the lady, she noticed that she was dressed in very old clothes and that she was so overwhelmed with everything around her. She felt like that lady was so lost, but before she got a chance to speak to her, the lady walked away and she was suddenly out of her sight. Now, you might be thinking, okay, what does that even mean? Well, there is a very interesting theory behind what Carol claims to have experienced. Frank and that old lady might have experienced two different time paths. They switched for a few seconds, or so that's what I think. It's like he lived a few minutes in her time, and she lived a few minutes in his time before they switched back to their original timeline. But well, it's just a story, and a lot of people love to believe it because Frank is a police officer. He wouldn't just come up with something like that, would he? And honestly, it's your choice. Do you want to believe this or not? Have you ever gone through something similar? Let me know down in the comments below. And let's move to our final story, the one that is very different, and I am very sure you might have heard of it because it was very, very popular. It's the John Titor or Titor or Titor, I do not know how to pronounce his name, case, and it's gonna take us to the year 2000 and 2001, the stranger who came from the future. Let's go. Our story begins in the year 2000 on an online forum. Okay, what is an online forum? Guys, people back then did not have social media like we do. So they would most likely use forums online. Someone comes in and types in something, there exist these groups where people connect through a common subject so that their discussion would go on and on and on. A lot of people love to communicate through forums with other human beings, and a lot of these forums actually spoke of certain topics, like specific topics for one or too many people's interests. Meanwhile, other forums were just like, you can talk about anything. So you can post something or say something, and that would make you start so many conversations. A lot of people could comment on it and tell you their opinion. And I think I explained well. Let's move to the one forum we are going to need to talk about today. It was named Art Bell's Post to Post. In November 2000, a guy named John Tita decided to start posting online. And he claimed to be a soldier who came from the future from the year 2036. Why did he come back? So many people are very interested in his story, and there's something that we couldn't explain until this day, because John had a solid evidence that he was actually from the future. John said that he traveled through time using a time machine that the government has built for him specifically. He had a mission, and his mission was to retrieve an old computer, the IBM 5100. Why would someone from the future need a very old computer from the 90s? He had also a solid explanation. We will get there. Stop being so jumpy and wait. IBM 5100 was a portable computer that was very popular in the 1975. John said that he needed the IBM 5100 because it had an ability that they did not know of until the year 2036. And it is that this computer, the IBM 5100, can help solve problems with old computer systems in the future. He also claimed that he stopped in the 1975 before coming to the year 2000. I do not know exactly why he couldn't grab the computer from the year 1975, but he did not. And he has been posting online until 2001, where he completely disappeared and nobody knows if he was telling the truth or lying. But later on, in one of the sources, I found that what he said was true. That IBM 5100 truly had the ability to solve problems within the old systems. Old computer systems. A lot of people say he might be telling the truth. Meanwhile, other people say he might just be a computer genius, an IT genius. And the thing is that we will never know. John even went as far as sharing how the time machine was built. But later on, so many people said that whatever he was talking about, whatever device he described as the time machine, did not exist and did not make enough sense for it to be real. Sadly, we are not in the year 2036 yet, or else I would have been looking for John Tita to host in this video. Maybe he would tell us something interesting that we do not know. But as for now, this was it for today's video. By the way, guys, I tried to dress a little bit, old. And that's what came with me. Honestly, at first I was going to go with, okay, yeah, my microphone is not on me, so you probably can't hear me. So I sound completely insane right now. I had to choose between pants and skirt for today's video, and I chose pants because, I don't know, man. I thought I would say something cool, but apparently not that cool, is it? Anyways, you guys, how have you been? It has been a while and I'm finally back, and I promise you I'll do my best to keep posting and not just disappear once in a while. But anyways, I'm really happy to see you. You look amazing. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye. Love you.